winters are kicking in. But for me, I have the sizzling hot TATA Nexon Petrol AMT to keep me warm. How it keeps me warm is because it has a fabulous 1.2 turbocharged Rebeltron engine which produces 108 bhp with 170 Newton meters of torque. Let's see how this car is. Let's come to the looks of the car, and as you can see, it's a pretty handsome looking car. It's got a huge honeycomb grille in the front which is painted black, and it's got a huge chrome line which Tata calls the humanity line. The humanity line though stretches all the way around the car, but it's prominent in the front. And I think overall it's a great looking car, and it's complemented in this great color that I have. It's called Etna Orange, and I think it's the color to have in the Nexon. I mean, if I had to buy with my money, I'd put my money on this eyes closed. I absolutely love this combo, and kudos to Tata for launching such a brilliant shade of color. Coming to the side view of the car, I think it's a great looking car because you can see the humanity line again going across the car, plus it's got dual tone. So you have the option of buying the car with single tone or dual tone. This very car has dual tone, and I think again the grey and the orange is a great combo. Although a black and an orange would be even better combination, but this grey and orange looks amazing, and overall it really suits the side profile of the car. Again, the side profile has some hints of cladding. It needs to make it look like an SUV. After all, it is a compact SUV, right? And it has 16-inch rims which look amazing. Diamond cut rims, 16-inch, mated to 215 section tires, which again are really meaty, and it helps give the car a really good start. So now we come to the rear of the car, and you can see again it's a hit or miss. Some people like it, some people don't like it. I'm one of those who actually really like the way this car looks. And you can see that the humanity line stretches all the way to the back again in an X shorter form. And in this case it's grey, but if you buy another color, say blue or something, it comes in the combo of white, which again is a hit or miss, but it works in this color and I think it looks great. Overall the silhouette looks good. The car has been made to fit in the under 4 meter category, so everything is got to fit in that category, but it looks good. The tail lights look good. There's a very subtle spoiler on the rear windshield, and the shark fin antenna complements the looks. Overall, I think it's a really smart looking package overall from the front, side and the back, and really I must give a big thumbs up to Tata Motors for coming up with such a fabulous design. After examining the exterior of the car, let's have a look at the interior of the car. And first things first, when you enter the car, you are greeted with a very familiar looking steering wheel and a very familiar looking instrument console. Because these two are a straight lift from the younger cousins of this car, which are the Tiago and the Tigor, which is not a bad thing. Again, it's subjective. Some people don't like it, but I personally think that it's a great looking combination, so I don't see why it cannot be used on different models, and I think it's a great fit to the whole theme of the car. When you gaze your eyes off the instrument console, you are greeted with a beautiful looking center console. You have a screen here which controls everything in the car, and when I say everything, it does everything from AC controls to music, Android Auto, lots of vehicle settings, and it's full of gimmicks and all, which is really nice to have in a car which costs in this price range, because I don't think anything else has it in this. You have the controls here if you don't want to use the touchscreen, and yes, by the way, this is a touchscreen, but if you don't want to use the touchscreen, you can use it by knobs and controls here, which is a really useful thing because not everybody is, tech savvy who wants to be associated with touchscreen. So it's really nice to have something you can actually use knobs and gears. You have the AC controls, auto AC and the works. But there is one downside, because lots of people would think that this empty screen would be perhaps having a temperature gauge, but it doesn't, it's just empty. So that's something Tata could fix probably in the future by adding a small display here, which would really enhance the looks, and also it would make it easy for changing the temperature or fan speed or anything in the car. Then you have lots of host of buttons here. For you have the lock, the boot release, rear fog light, front fog light, and the parking camera. Yes, you can actually activate the parking camera when you're standstill. That's pretty cool gimmick to have. It's good entertainment in traffic. Then you have the AMT gear lever, which is, again, the gear knob is a lift from the Tiago, but not so much that, the lower console. It has the Eco, City and Sport mode. Yes, this car has different modes. I'll come to that later in the driving part. And it has a huge compartment here where you can store lots of things. You can put bottles. It's very big, and you can cover it by a sliding cover. And the armrest goes up, so you get access to more space to put your knickknacks. And you have the traditional handbrake. So overall, it's a really nice silhouette of the car, and overall it's a great place to spend time in. Big thumbs up to Tata for designing this. Next thing I would like to mention is the seats in this car. I really like the seats of this car. It's really comfortable. It really holds you well, even if you're hard cornering or just sitting here on the highway cruising, which this car can do really well. The seats really keep you comfortable. You have great thigh support and great back support, and lower back and upper back both. So you're really comfortable, and they have these side contours which keeps you comfortable on the side as well. Really good job by Tata by designing these great seats as well. So let's finally see how this car drives. I'm just gonna put it into drive, put the handbrake down, and you see that it has the creep mode. It's actually really useful for, you know, setting off in stop-start traffic. You don't always have to modulate the throttle or anything. It's actually really nice. I'm in city mode right now. So yes, this car has 3 modes. It's called Eco, Sport and City. When you're in Eco mode, the AMT box shifts at 2000 RPM. Does not shift more than that, because obviously it's for Eco. It's meant to extract the most fuel economy you can from at any situation. Sport mode, on the other hand, I'll just put this like I'm in city mode. I'm in Eco mode, and I shift to Sport mode. Now, when I'm in Sport mode, you can instantly feel that the car is so eager to jump ahead. I mean, it just doesn't upshift until you're actually near the red line. You are so, you know, the Sport mode actually encourages you to push the car in all ways. You really feel like, wow, you know, this 1.2 turbo is just a small engine on paper. It actually pulls really hard, because I'm in Sport mode and it just pulls. It just pulls. Wow. It just pulls all the way. And the turbo range actually feels really nice. When you're at the turbo, when you're in the turbo range, the pull is really strong. I mean, it actually feels like a turbo diesel, you know, because I mean, partially because there are not many turbo petrols to begin with, but it pulls actually really well. I'm in Sport mode, downshifts, and it just pulls all the way to the red line, which is really small. It redlines at 5,500 RPM, which is not much for a petrol, but in Sport mode, it really eagerly just pulls ahead. It's actually really impressive for such a small capacity engine to pull so hard. And then if I put it into city mode, it's the perfect driving mode for city bumper to bumper traffic. It's always the right gear. The AMT does not lag behind. You're always in the right revs. So it actually feels really nice to drive. Overall, all 3 modes complement each other really well. And overall, Tata has done a great job in packaging all these modes into a small engine, into a sub 10 lakh rupee car. It's just so positive. You know, the future is so bright from Tata, and this is a big step towards that bright future. Absolutely, I love the way they've done this. The steering feel is really nice. It's an electric unit, but it weighs up really well at speeds. In city traffic, one might find it to be a little heavy, especially if you're used to, say, like a Hyundai steering or a Maruti steering. This would feel a little heavy, but it weighs up fabulously well on the speed. And you can just feel that when you're driving, when you're pushing the car really aggressively on its limit, you can really feel that the steering feedback is top notch. And again, I bring this up from the Tiago review as well. It's actually very, very nice to drive. It's actually very, very nice to drive. As you can see I'm in city mode, and the pull is also nice. And it sounds nice too. It's a 3-cylinder pot, so it has that vibe that each 3-cylinder has. But the addition of the turbo to this engine has done itself so much charm. It's such a nice package. I'll absolutely love it. In conclusion, I'd like to say that this car looks amazing. It drives really well. I think it's got great space inside. It's got great equipment. Downsides are that it is an AMT box, so you do feel that AMT characteristics of lag once in a while. So today, it's another winter day, and for me, I have another Nexon with me. The last one was a Petrol AMT combination. This is a diesel manual combination. So the car I have with me today is the top model XZ Plus diesel manual. Yes, it does come in the diesel AMT as well, but this is the manual. And as you can see, the car is pretty dirty. I've had my share of fun with the car, because all I can say is that I'm absolutely in love with the car. To bring it up, the older car was an Etna orange. This is a blue color. This is also a dual tone, as same was the previous car, but this has now white inserts, as you can see with the fog light, and you can see on the door sill as well. So this is a different kind of dual tone, and the all grey comes only with the Etna orange. Now we are in the diesel manual variant of the Tata Nexon, and interior wise it's practically the same, except it has a manual gearbox now and a manual gear lever, obviously. Otherwise the whole interior is the same, and there is no much differences, so I won't dwell further into it and waste your time. So let's get driving to the manual. When you press the clutch and put the car into first gear, you instantly notice how light the clutch is. And when you set off, it's very easy to set off. There's a little turbo lag, obviously, it's a turbo diesel car, it has to have that. But it just smoothly ambles along, and I'm in sport mode. And yes, this also gets the 3 driving modes that the Petrol had. This has the Eco, Sport and the City mode. So currently I'm in sport mode, and if I actually put it into Eco mode, which will just do now. Economy drive mode is activated. Yes, so there's a lady who actually speaks and tells you what mode you're actually driving in. But I'm in Eco mode, and even in Eco mode, easily I'm doing 40, I've put it to 4th, no lugging. The car easily moves along in traffic, and while doing so, I'm getting an instantaneous mileage of almost 30 kilometers per liter. Yes, this car is actually very fuel efficient. I took it for a small highway drive, and I was easily getting 20, 22, 23. I mean, you don't even have to put an effort in actually taking out the fuel economy. That's such a positive feature about this engine. You can just drive in your normal way, and yet you can get amazing fuel figures. That's just startling, and a spectacular job by Tata Motors for this engine. Obviously this engine is a 1.5 liter Revo Torque engine. It's their own in-house engine. They have stopped using the multi-jet which they used in the Zest and the Bolt. So this is an in-house engine, 1.5, 110 horsepower, 270 Newton meters of torque. Again, it sounds really good, and I can only say that I pushed this car and I've put this car in different circumstances, and this car never failed to disappoint. That's how good this engine is. I mean, I'm really surprised with the way how Tata is making the new generation of engines. The petrol engine was really amazing, and the diesel engine is equally amazing. It's just amazing how Tata is actually stepping up their game, and even Mahindra for that matter. So it's a big threat for the foreign companies, because the Indian companies are now coming, and watch out, they're gonna really do well in the future and really gonna grow. Anyways, back to the car. I'm in 5th in 60. I'm getting an instantaneous mileage of 30. It's just amazing. And yes, this is a 6-speed gearbox, just like the Petrol AMT. This is a 6-speed, so that does aid a lot in fuel economy. It's just little things done by Tata Motors, you know. Just the little things, you know, that Tata Motors has done, which just further enhances your ownership experience, fuel economy and power, drivability is just amazing. And I'm just surprised and happy that an Indian company can provide such a perfect package of the car. I'm on some rough road now, and the car is just gliding over bumps. You can just go over small bumps without even stopping or slowing. The bigger ones, yes, you will feel the bumps, you will feel the thuds in the suspension inside the cabin, but the smaller ones, it just disregards them. Doesn't even it doesn't even accept that the pothole was there. Just glides over it. The suspension, the handling is really good. Obviously, there is a lot of ground clearance, so there is very noticeable body roll in the handling. But if you stay within the limits, this car is hugely rewarding. And the whole key is to stay within the limits, because if you do cross the limit, the body roll can be scary. And again, it has almost 200 millimeters of ground clearance. You really can't expect it to handle like a hot hatch, I'm in eco mode. I've got an open stretch of road. Let's put this into sport mode. Yes, the lady confirms that, and I floor it. And this thing just pulls. This thing just pulls all the way to its red line of a very paltry 4,000 RPM. I know it's a diesel, it's not supposed to rev, but 4,000 is really poor. And obviously, when you do end up revving the engine, it is a loud engine. It's a little gruff, but it's got the punch. It is got the punch. I mean, it can pull the legs on some of its rivals. It can actually pull gaps. That's how fast this car actually is. Again, I floor it. Oh, you can feel the turbo, and there you go, red line at 4,000. And again, just pulling. You can hear the engine slow, and the red line again at 4,000. That's a little low. But this thing pulls. This thing shifts. This thing shifts. It's pretty quick. It's pretty quick. And you get all the great equipment you had on the petrol car. You have the great Harman Kardon touchscreen infotainment system. You've got the great dials. You've got the great fuel economy. You've got the great looks from the exterior. You've got the great interior. All for 11.5 lakhs off-road. Can you beat this as a package? I don't think so. That's how good this car is. I am absolutely smitten, and kudos to Tata Motors for making this. Thank you so much for watching. See you next time. Bye bye.